Welcome to Let Them See You, the podcast that honors educators, the everyday heroes shaping futures with courage and heart. I'm your host, Sarah Hightower. This is your space to recharge, find joy, and embrace your power. Welcome back, episode 12. Pre-K and K, built different. Today's quick chat before we get into these incredible teachers that we're talking about today. We are focusing on just that, being built different. I know that there's a lot going on, y'all, but when you're built different, that means, like the commercials where they say built for it tough. I can't get that out of my head. Everybody's heard that before, but what does it mean? That means anything that comes your way, any obstacle in front of you, you get through it, you go over it, it's around it, under it, you're going to get through it, and you're going to come out on the other side sometimes stronger than when you went into it. Built for tough. That's why they use that slogan. Well, that's how I feel about pre-K and kinder teachers. I can talk about pre-K and kinder teachers because I've done it. I've been in those trenches. When I did student teaching, part of my student teaching was in pre-K. I know some of y'all are sitting back and going, "You did what?" Let me explain. It was pre-K, and the other one I think was like fifth grade or something like that. But pre-K was very eye-opening. When I say it has to be foundational, that's what I mean. They don't know. They really don't know. So when it comes to being built different, you have to know that whatever situation you're in, no matter if it's in the classroom, no matter if it's in the grocery store, the way you respond, the way you act, the way you feel, but your outward expression might be different. When you are an educator, you learn how to move. And there's so much experience that comes with knowing how to move. I can tell you right now, there are so many things that I have learned as a person from being an educator. There is a level of patience that no one can match but an educator. You have to have the most patience that I know of any other profession. Why? Because your clientele is vast. You are working with parents. You are working with students. You are working with your colleagues, your peers. You are working with district level staff and your administrators. Then you got to go home and you're working with your spouse, your loved ones, your family, your own kids. And you have to navigate all of it with patience. And it is not easy. It can be challenging. Only a teacher can do it. Only a teacher can do it. Name one other profession that can deal with that vast of a clientele, sometimes all in one day, and come out on the other side. I wait. That's because there isn't one. It is just us. Only educators can do that, right? So, yes, we're built different, especially pre-K and kinder. So let's get into it. When I did pre-K was very structured, the one that I was in. Most of the time, if you go through the traditional track of becoming an educator, you're going to do student teaching. You're going to have time in the classroom where you're actually the person delivering the lesson. So when I did that for pre-K, what I saw was immense structure, but I think more structured than any other grade level that I've ever seen. Why? Because they're four and super squirrely, and they don't have a lot of time to listen to you. Their attention span is like that long, and that's it. That's all they have. So you have to be so efficient with your time that you can teach these 4-year-olds what they need to know in 5 to 6 minute blocks. That is an incredibly stressful thing to do sometimes, especially if you have students that have a hard time standing up, pushing in their chairs, coming to the carpet, listening for 5 minutes, standing up, walking back to the chair, sitting down. That is a lot for someone who's never been to school to do, but it has to be done. It is the only way. So often in that grade level, there is a lot of emphasis on repetition, not just on the academic things like the ABC song or numbers or sounds, but there's a lot of repetition on routines and procedures because they are for, right? That is necessary with a lot of kids in all grade levels, but pre-K is the first time that they are in school. The same goes with some kids that are in kinder. Many of them didn't go to pre-K. So kinder will be their first time in school. When you have that occur and they're sitting in the same class as a child that went to pre-K, sometimes you notice the difference. You notice that maybe the child that didn't go to pre-K doesn't have as quick of a grasp of the routines and procedures at the beginning of the year. And sometimes you notice they don't have as high of an academic repertoire, right? They don't have their letters and sounds under their belt. They can't count to the 30 yet. They aren't able to identify certain things about a book, front cover, back cover, spine. They just don't have it yet because they haven't had that structured opportunity to practice that and learn it. So there's a difference, and both types of children could be in the class. So pre-K and kinder are your super foundational grade levels. There are some other things that I want you to think about when it comes to pre-K and kinder teachers. This world is very much filled with lots of routine and procedures, but it's how you teach those routines and procedures. If you know any teacher in these grade levels, you know they have a certain level of bubble. I'm trying to say bubbly, bubbly, like a bubbly personality. Um, they might not always be that way. If not, they're on the other end of that spectrum. They're like super structured and they don't play about that structure. Like you go get in line and you're going to be straight and you're going to have that bubble in your mouth and your hands are going to be behind your back and we're going to walk. That is also a pre-K teacher or kinder teacher. So you've got some that are over here, some that are over there, and some that are a mix of the two. The goal is to try to be a mix of the two. That way you get a very structured classroom that is engaging, right? So those classes, I know mine personally was full of music and, chants and rhymes and callbacks and all kinds of things to get kids engaged and talking and learning verbally and through movement. So there's a lot of that in those grade levels, and that's fun. It's fun. If you are sitting back going, I could never, you'd be surprised when you walk into a pre-K or kindergarten classroom and you're dancing to the music that they're listening to, and you leave the classroom and I bet you know that information that the song was talking about. I bet you know, because music and chants are research based to teach things. That's why it's so heavy in pre-K and kindergarten. Lots of fist bumps or hugs or high fives or things to let the students know that you care and you love them and you're happy that they're there. It's important because at this level, this being their first time in school, one of the main things that they need to know is that they belong and you care about them. That's foundational to their learning. So pre-K and kindergarten teachers are very well versed in making children feel like they belong and making children feel like they are loved. That is a special skill because you get some friends that you're like, woo, okay, this is going to be a challenge. But no matter how much students, cut up, at the end of the day, they know you love them. Okay, any pre-K or kinder teacher, y'all know the book, No David, right? No David, in the book, he's doing all kinds of things. The part, of course, when you read it to the students and he's running down the street and he is naked and the kids are going, ah, right? But it's so true. And then you see the part where his brother and him are fighting, and the parent has to come in there and tell them to stop fighting each other and to leave each other alone. David gets mad, and of course he's looking like, do you still care about me? Do you still love me? Of course. Of course I still love you. Yes, I love you, David. That's these teachers. No matter what, they're still going to let the students know, yes, you made a mistake. Yes, it was a tough day, but tomorrow is a new day. I still love you. That's the beauty of these teachers. Got to love them. It's a blend of patience and energy and love. And if you don't have one of those three on a given day, it's going to be tough. That is why pre-K and kinder teachers are built different, because they have to have all three for it to work. If you don't have the love for the students or for the grade level, if you don't have the energy for the students or for the grade level, if you don't have the patience for the students or for the grade level, you probably won't be teaching it again next year, either by your own choosing or somebody telling you, we're going to find you another spot, right? Because it's evident. Students feel it, parents feel it, you feel it, right? We want everybody to have the right fit when it comes to the placement that you're in for teaching. So pre-K and kinder, it's not for everybody. There's a special breed there to teach this grade level. So we talked about how they're foundational. They shape the way children learn and the way children see learning, the way children see school, the way children see themselves. That is big work. And it seems like that you don't see the growth right away. And that can be frustrating because we sit back and we think, oh, I spent all this time and they just won't sit down and they won't listen to the lesson. This one over here is screaming. That one over there is rolling. This one over here is crying. And this one is listening so well. And I feel so bad for them because they're not learning. Trust me, they're all learning. Because when it comes down to it and you ask the one rolling and the one crying and the one screaming what they learned, they're able to tell you. For the most part, they can tell you. There's an adjustment to them being able to sit down and take it in the way we need them to, but they will get there. And no matter what, all that learning that is happening in that room, even if it's not from what's coming out of your mouth, it's on the wall. Anywhere they look, they probably see something that is teaching them. There's something labeled. There's some picture. There's different content areas labeled in the room, and wherever they look, they're going to learn about it. So they are learning, they will grow, and they are learning about themselves too. They are learning how to handle stuff like emotions, feelings. This is the grade level pre-K and kinder where they get frustrated and sometimes might get in somebody's face, push them, yell at them, throw things. And we have to be the ones to tell them, nope, can't do it. Not here. We don't do that. That's not how we treat people. We don't treat other people that way. That's not to say their parents don't teach them that, but it is to say that we have them in a structured environment with 19 plus other people to teach them in. So it's a different kind of experience. It's a different kind of environment that they don't get at home. It's always funny when something happens and you have to call a parent and they go, "Well, they don't do that at home. That doesn't happen at home." And you sometimes have to explain, "Okay, it probably doesn't. I understand that, but the environment is different and the ask is different." We have 19 at least other children in the room, and we have to keep them safe as well. And they have to learn as well. And when I'm teaching a lesson, the expectation is that they take it in the way that I expect them to. Well, how do they know how to take it in? I teach them. We practice it like crisscross applesauce, hands in your lap. And when it's time to turn and talk, they knee to knee and eye to eye and they're talking. Yep. These things take practice. It is not going to happen overnight, but it is going to happen respectfully with others. That is a skill that is time consuming. They're 4 and 5. So it takes a long time, but it gets there. They get there. It's a beautiful thing when they do. I talked about emotions. As pre-K and kinder teachers, you are an emotional coach. You are the emotional coach. Of course, there's the counselor on the campus, but that's a whole nother episode to talk about what, the time the counselor has to counsel, right? So as the teacher, you are the emotional coach that they are with the majority of the day. So these big feelings that they feel, you help them navigate them, right? The friendships or lack thereof, we help them navigate that. They, as a teacher, you have to model what empathy looks like. They don't know. They can't even call out what it is. They don't know that it has a name, let alone what it is. So you have to show them. This is why we're exhausted at the end of the day, because if they're going to learn empathy as a human being, it's going to be at those foundational ages. Pre-K, kinder, this is when you learn to care for someone. And if they drop it, you pick it up and you hand it to them and you support them and you let them know, because in the back of your mind, you remember when you dropped something and it sure would have been nice if somebody helped you pick it up, right? So you just go through things that other grade levels don't necessarily go through when it comes to those emotions. You also help students find their voice. At that young age, some kids go through a silent phase. We call it shy often, but I don't think it's always shyness. I think it's that they don't have their voice yet. They don't know that they can speak up and they don't know how to do it. It is awesome and it makes my heart happy when I see a young child advocate for themselves. When they say, I can't sit there because I play with him, or I need to be closer. I really can't see. It's a beautiful thing to see a young child advocating for themselves because they found their voice. That doesn't happen naturally for many students. That happens with practice and in the right environment, with the right adults teaching them how to do it. Somebody has to tell them that it's okay. First of all, yeah, it's okay to say this is what you need. It's okay to ask for support. That is a good thing. And that's what makes this grade level, pre-K and K, so awesome, because as teachers, you are also emotional coaches. Another thing that you support with at this grade level is how to be a master of flexibility. No one is as flexible as a pre-K or kinder teacher. No one. Why? Because these students are curious. They have an abundance of it, and we have to respond to it. They're going to see or hear something that you refer to, and they're going to want to know a whole bunch more about it. Either that, or they're gonna make a whole bunch of connections to it. Well, my aunt went to the ship channel, and we saw the ship, and it was big, and I like ships, and they're gray. Okay. Right? And then you have the other student who also wants to make a connection, but they really don't have the same real experience to the exact thing you're talking about. So they just make a random connection like, yes, and I like water. Wonderful. I'm glad. That is a good thing that you like water. That it is so incredible how flexible we have to be with them being allowed to express their thoughts and their opinions, sometimes off topically, right? Plans getting interrupted. Man, it is not easy to get like a baseline of data on students at this grade level. It takes a long time because you have to pretty much sit with each one-on-one to really see where they're at. You have to have them count for you. You have to have them do different reading skills with you, because there's no other way to find out what they can or can't do. That's really the only other way to know for sure where they are skill wise and where you need to help them. So it takes time. And when the time that you've set aside to do that gets interrupted by who knows what, it throws everything off. You, as a teacher in these grade levels, have to be super flexible. And if you're listening and you do not teach pre-K and kinder, I hope you have a newfound respect for these teachers, because they are foundational builders. They are foundation builders. You do not have a surgeon without a pre-K or kinder teacher. You do not have a firefighter. You do not have a lawyer. You do not have anyone without a pre-K or kinder teacher. Now you might be, well, they don't have to go to pre-K. They don't have to go to kinder. You're right. But they do need a foundation, and these are people that provide it. So give respect where respect is due. Respect to you. When I said the masters of flexibility and the curiosity thing, it's in the plans getting interrupted. You know that these are opportunities. You know you're a pre-K or kinder teacher when you take that and you make it an opportunity to learn. Oh, we were learning about community helpers, and oh, we had a fire drill. We had to go out for the fire drill. Okay, when we went out for the fire drill, boys and girls, who helps us with the fire? That's right. It's the firefighters. They help us with fire. That's right. What else do we know about the firefighters? Who else helps us in the community? That is a learning opportunity. A pre-K and kindergarten teacher is a master of this. They learn how to make those adjustments that turn into learning opportunities every time. So it's a huge impact. It is not just ABCs and 1, 2, 3s at all. It is confidence building. It is belonging. It is a joy for learning, not just in those grade levels, but it affects them for the entirety of their educational career. Do I remember pre-K? Do I remember kinder? Vaguely, but I can guarantee you I had a good time, because I love school and I love learning. Something happened in pre-K and kinder that caused that. I have seen pictures of me in centers having an amazing time. I do recall growing up and playing school later on. Things had to have happened foundationally for me to want to emulate my teachers. They had to be great. So props to the pre-K and kinder teacher. We didn't even get into the fact that y'all have the ickiness to deal with. That's a whole nother end of the spectrum with the ickiness. No, I will not tie your shoe. Because I don't know what's on it, love. I'm not doing that. Runny noses, we got the coughs, we got the sneezes, sometimes in your face. I remember the first time I was teaching kindergarten, I was sick, y'all. My first week as a kindergarten teacher, I was sick because they're germy. The kindergarten kids are germy. They've got lots of germs. And they are working on hand sanitizer, washing their hands, using a tissue, throwing it away. All of those things are part of the foundation building. And that first week, many students didn't have it. It was up to me to teach it to them. So yeah, that it was germy in there until we learned how to be more clean with our hands and how we are around one another. So those are just things to keep in mind. Next time you see a pre-K or kinder teacher, give them a hug, give them a high five, give them $1. Do something, because we need our foundational leaders out here doing the Lord's work, helping our little bitties so that they grow up to be our world leaders. Hopefully, world leaders that embrace humanity and support us coming together in unity to support one another. That is what happens in pre-K and kindergarten. Thank you. And that brings us to our tip of the week. This week's tip of the week is lean into routines. Lean into routines. This is a staple of these grade levels. If you want to know how to implement one, go watch them, because they know how to do it. They're the masters. Go to a pre-K or kindergarten classroom to learn how to implement a routine. Okay? So they might sing a song, but that's all right. Endure it, because you'll learn. I want you to think about how you can lean into routines, not just in the classroom, but even in your everyday life. You might be thinking, I need to work out more. What kind of routine could you implement to make that happen? You have to make a change. You can't keep doing the same thing you've been doing and expect a different result. If you really want to work out, you have to try something you haven't tried before. If you try working out after work and you never get to it, or it only happens once a week, you might need to make a change. Try working out before. Oh no, I'll get too tired. Okay. Is there something you can do on the weekend? Is there something you can do in your office? Maybe you can do a couple push-ups. Maybe you can do a couple lunges, some squats. That's working out. Maybe you can just walk, get up and take a break at work. Walk. 5 minutes of walking is better than no minutes of walking. Think about routines and how you can lean into them, not just as an educator, but also as a person, and use that to your advantage. So thank you to our foundational teachers for helping us think about routines. And with that being said, I want to leave you with a great resource, and that is the NAEYC, the National Association for the Education of Young Children. You can click on that website to learn all kinds of strategies and tools that are specifically designed for our 4 and 5-year-olds. And they will help you to blend research with your practice. So take a look at that website, learn some things, implement some things, and go high five your pre-K or kindergarten teacher. Please don't forget. Rediscover your joy. Embrace your true self. Let them see you. Thanks for listening to Let Them See You. Until next time, climb with courage, stand in the light, let them see you.